Tell me what you see in me.
Okay, so this is part one of my 5-part wig making webinar. I'm going to show you how I turn lace into scalp. If you are interested in seeing my full process of making a wig from start to finish on the sewing machine, definitely click the link in the description. Okay, so you're going to need a mixing bowl and coloring brush, bleach, developer, and some foil. I'm using 40 volume developer, but if you are a beginner, I do recommend that you use 30 volume developer. And of course, you cannot forget your good quality lace. Please make sure that lace is good quality. You are going to get the best results with some good quality lace. I am using raw Indian HD lace from Lethalunits, of course. It is in the texture wavy, and look at that lace. Pro tip, if the edge of that lace is not frayed, it is not HD and it is not thin. Okay, thank you. We're going to start out by taming those flyaways. Hit it with some got-to-be and hot comb it back. This is very important because we want to make sure that hair in the front is smooth and out of the way so that we are not accidentally bleaching anything. Okay, let's get to the bleach. So I don't measure anything. I just use a scoop of bleach and then I add in developer and I just keep adding in bleach powder until I get it to the consistency that I want. You want the consistency to be thick. I like to say like a Cool Whip for me because this is what we're trying to achieve, right? So we are going to put this bleach mixture onto the lace so that it makes contact with the knots and lifts that dark brown knot to a lighter brown so that it looks more like scalp. If it is too runny, guess what's going to happen? The mixture is going to go past the lace, past the knots, and onto the hair. Like, you ever seen somebody wearing a wig and it looks like bald? It looks like the front part or the part is balding. That is due to over bleaching. And by making our bleach thick, we can avoid that. Now we have reached a perfect consistency. Definitely do the stand-up test. Your mixing brush should be able to stand up on its own, and then that's how you know you have a good consistency. Okay, let's apply that bleach to the lace. Now, when I am applying the bleach, I am slightly pushing that bleach into the lace, kind of, sort of, because I really want that bleach to penetrate those knots so that they can lift. And also, you'll notice that when I'm applying the lace, I'm putting it on the back part first, and I'm not putting it at the very top of the lace. That's because I want to allow that back part to process for a couple minutes before I apply bleach on that upper part. I do this because the denser parts take longer to process, and then the thinner parts normally process quicker. So to avoid over bleaching the front of my lace, I just let that back part process for 2 minutes. And that is completely optional. You do not have to do that. It really depends on the type of lace that you have. My vendor provides pre-plucked lace, and that is just how I've learned to work with my specific lace. Once that 2 minutes is up, I apply the rest of the mixture as normal to the lace, to the knots. And then I go ahead and I flip the lace over onto the foil. Once the bleach makes contact with the foil is going to heat up, which is going to allow those knots to bleach faster. Whenever I post videos about bleaching knots, the number one question I always get is, how long do you bleach your knots for? And the truth is, I don't time it. I know, I don't. And I actually don't recommend that you time yours either. And here's why. It's because there are so many factors that can alter how long it takes for your knots to bleach. It can be the quality of the hair, the origin of the hair, the density of the lace. There are different factors that can make the knot bleaching process longer. So I simply just watch it, honestly. So I cover it with another piece of foil and I set a timer for 10 minutes. I only set a timer so that I don't forget, because I will definitely forget. But 10-minute timer, and I just keep checking it every 10 minutes until it looks like those dark brown knots are a lighter brown, like a brassy blonde. That's what we're going for. Okay, so after it's been processing for a while, you'll see me here in this clip. I am just going through and kind of parting the hair. I'm really just checking out the knots because I just watch my knots the entire time that it's processing so that they don't over bleach. And also in the front, you'll see me kind of rubbing or like tapping little bits of the hair. That's me kind of pushing down the knots that I do see so that they can make contact with the bleach and process. It is completely normal for you to not get every single knot on that lace. It's okay. You want to get the majority of it. We are trying to create the illusion that this lace is scalp. So we want to remove as many knots as possible. But if you still have some left behind, it's okay. It's normal. It's very hard for you to get every single one. But I'm actually going to insert a clip of how I kind of tap or push down on the knots. I'm going to insert a close-up clip because this really didn't do justice. So you'll actually be able to see what I'm doing. Okay, so I was going through the footage and I realized that I really wanted to give you guys a up close look. Currently bleaching knots right now. They've been processing for a bit, but I really wanted y'all to see like up close what I actually do because it is very, very important. Bleaching the knots is the most important step because that is what's going to make your wig look like scalp, you know? So I'm taking, don't mind my red tail comb, y'all. I started my business with this comb. I started my business with this comb in 2018, baby. And this is, she never fails me, ever. Okay, so first I'm gonna take my red tail comb and I just wanna show you guys what I actually do with it. Okay, I hope y'all can see. Okay, so I take my red tail comb and I just make sure I am kind of combing the front, making sure like the hair isn't like sticking to the bleach too much. I'm doing because you don't want the hairs to like lay flat because then they'll process too far up. And I keep getting like a little bit of bleach on my comb. I just comb it up the shaft. And when you're bleaching knots, it is normal for you to not bleach every single knot, right? The gist of it is to get most of the knots so that they're less noticeable. But honestly, getting all the knots is kind of, you know, I wouldn't stress over that. But the ones right here in the front, baby, I try to get as many as I can. Now, what I do is I will just comb out the front of that lace, and I'm trying to see if I see any knots that might not be bleached. Let me see if I can find. Okay, I see some right here. Right there. So right in this area, I see some knots that's not bleached. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take the end of my red tail comb and I'm just literally kind of pushing it down. I'm gonna push it down so that the bleach, so that that knot is making contact with that bleach so that it can lift. Okay, and I'm gonna do the same thing over here too because I see some knots that's not lifting. And I'm gonna do same thing on this end as well. It's some knots that's not lifting. This is just something that I do. I honestly feel like it makes a difference because I'm getting all of those knots in the front. And I do this with every single piece of lace. I'm not focused on like going too deep into like the scalp, honestly. But the ones in the front, if I can tap them a little bit so that they can bleach, I will do that. Okay, I am so happy I was able to sneak that little footage in there, that up close footage, because I felt like that was very important. But moving on, we are rinsing our lace now. As we are rinsing it, notice that grassy look that's on there. It looks kind of like orangey, very, very warm. That's what we don't want, right? So the next step that we're going to take is using a blue shampoo to get rid of that brassiness. Now, for years, people was bleaching knots and using purple shampoo. And I don't know if you're familiar with color theory, but purple cancels out yellow and blue cancels out orange. So in order to get rid of this orangey, brassy look, we're going to go ahead and hit it with some blue shampoo. Okay, so I'm going to just give that blue shampoo a really good scrub all over that lace, and I do not rinse it out. I repeat, I do not rinse it out. I leave that blue shampoo on that lace and I toss it in a plastic bag and I let that sit overnight for at least 8 hours, which is normally I just let it process overnight, go to bed, and in the morning I'll rinse it out. So what you're seeing now is the morning. I am rinsing the lace out, and as you can see, that brassiness is completely gone. So your end product for your bleach knots, you should have a nice kind of chocolate brown looking lace. And this is the before. You see that brassiness, and then after, a nice chocolate brown. Okay, lastly, once that shampoo is completely rinsed out, slap some conditioner on there, comb it through, rinse that out, and then I'm going to sit this to the side so it can dry while I go and construct the wig. By the time I get done constructing my wig, my lace will be dry and ready to be attached. So the next objective for us is to, one, create our blueprint, two, intro to the sewing machine and setting up our sewing machine. Then we'll get into constructing the unit, ending it off with customization. So if you are ready to learn, go ahead and click the link in the description and get access to the wig making course. Bye.
Tell me what you see in me.